I became popular in StarCraft Chapter 51-60. Thank you for everyone who pressed like and follow. It's an encouragement for each other. I apologize for any mistakes in the translation. You can donate at Kasi Corn Bank 025-352-0310. Then let's get started. Chapter 51, Frame. I know what you're going to say. Hearing Chu Yao's words, Yao Han paused. When I come back this time, I'll solve all the messy things in this gang. Don't worry about it. Yao Han nodded slightly, feeling relieved. That's right, I figured it out myself. How could Elder Chu, who was so predictable, not know? She should already know who the spy in the gang is. Alright, Sister Chu. Then I'll. Yao Han said goodbye, but before he could finish, he felt dizzy and couldn't control himself as he held onto the handrail. Puff, little Yao Shi, you're really seasick. Chu Yao covered his stomach and laughed happily. Come here, help Yao Shi in. Don't call me little Yao Shi. Yao Han still stood up to help. No. No. Although there were some twists and turns in the middle of this operation, it ultimately ended in the victory of the Cattail gang. After the Fishhead gang's people fell into chaos, the accompanying reinforcements were cornered by the gatekeepers for a while, and then won overwhelmingly. As for the trading team, 2 trucks were abandoned. One from Maotang was seriously injured, and the rest were slightly injured. A small amount of bullets and bombs were used. As for the reinforcements, 5 were seriously injured and more than 20 were slightly injured. All of these were losses, and in exchange for 100 of his men, more than 30 died, more than 40 fled, and more than 40 surrendered. Of course, more than half of the 30 deaths were probably due to Chu Yao. But in any case, this was the first major victory of the Mao Yi gang since its establishment, which was particularly significant. For the helpers who were slightly irritated recently, it was undoubtedly a great encouragement. The harvest was also a success, seizing 10 rifles, 14 pistols, 1 box of ammunition, 70 different types of melee weapons, and 5 or 6 vehicles of various models. Zhou Cheng used a lot of weapons. It seemed that he was determined to let the Cattail gang drink wine, but in the end, he did not expect to pour it into his own mouth. And the most important thing was to occupy Sunjin Port. As the largest port in Tianhai City the day before, it was located on a dark street. Previously, it was the territory of the Yutu gang, but Zhou Cheng did not take much care of it. Because even though it was a port, it could not squeeze out much profit. There were mermaids and dragons mixed in, many of them were thoughtless. To Zhou Cheng, Sun Jinggong was just a tasteless meal, and it would be a pity to throw it away if it was tasteless. There were more than 2 ports in Tianhai City, so he could do business elsewhere. But this was of great importance to the Mao Yi gang. Sunjin Port was located on the east street of the 8th Ring Road, north of where the Mao Yi gang was currently, occupying Sunjin Port, which opened up a gap in the Yutu gang's sphere of influence. With Sunjin Port as their foundation, they could launch an offensive against the 8th Ring Road, where the Yutu gang had no solid base, and it was absolutely impossible to win the north in an instant. This is our advantage. It's only been half a day since the Battle of Sunjin Port, and the opponent must not have responded yet. At this time, if we take advantage of the victory and pursue the attack, we will definitely catch the opponent by surprise. In Princess Ye's conference room, the core gathered, and Chen Qingye put his hands behind his back. Circle A drawn on the map. However, this map was a large touch screen. This Lianghuiran nightclub is the Yutu gang's headquarters on Bawan East Road. It is in the busiest part of the city and at the largest intersection. If we can capture this place in an instant, we will be standing here. Full force, your feet are on the ground. For this operation, the gang leader will lead the team himself, and the other halls must cooperate fully. Everyone turned their attention to Chu Yao, the leader who was playing with his mobile phone. He looked stupid. Leave it to me. Okay, if there are no problems. Chen Xingye looked at Chu Yao. After talking for so long, it seems that no one dares to mention this matter. Since Qing Yu didn't say anything, then I, the gang leader, will be the one to say it. Chu Yao hung up the phone, and his expression became slightly serious. Action, if there was no ambush, the news wouldn't have leaked. But the people of the Yutu gang seemed to be the ones who predicted and blocked the team's retreat in time, so there was a problem. Chu Yao still looked lazy, but his gaze was cold, sweeping across everyone present. Everyone present had different expressions. They didn't know what the gang leader wanted to say, but they couldn't believe it. There were a spy from the Yetu gang in the gang. For this operation, besides me, there were only about 10 people who knew about it, so it was easy to say after I investigated. I already know who released the news. Chu Yao looked at the person who had bowed her head. Gong Xiaoran, are you judged? As soon as these words were released, the audience was in an uproar. Gong Xiaoran did not seem surprised that Chu Yao would name herself, closing her eyes and taking a deep breath. Not me. Last night, many people saw you take a taxi and leave Princess Yat, and you didn't come back until dawn. Where did you go? Last night, it was me. Gong Xiaoran obviously didn't expect Chu Yao to ask about this, so she hurriedly replied, but was interrupted before she could finish speaking. There are more than a dozen anonymous messages on your phone. According to the investigation, these people are all important members of the Yetu gang. Call records. Gong Xiaoran was obviously taken aback. Then Chu Yao threw the phone back. She didn't even know that her mobile phone was missing, which showed that she cared little about security. Gong Xiaoran hurriedly pressed her finger on the phone. She set it to unlock with her fingerprint, and she found dozens of records in the call records. Some of them were broadcast and received calls, and some took nearly 10 minutes. She was completely stunned, and she even looked at the phone repeatedly to make sure it was hers. King Shu's latest product, the AI Lian P30 smartphone, with a pure white phone case, was given to her by Chu Yao. Why is the evidence so solid? Do you still want to refuse? Do you want to show everyone your call records? Chu Yao sneered. Go ahead. After a while, he rushed in and grabbed Gong Xiaoran. No, brother Chu, wait a minute. There's a problem here. Stop talking nonsense and exposing the gang's secrets. According to the rules, you have to be whipped and expelled from the gang. Think about her and my old love. Go to the dungeon first and clean up after yourself. You. Wait a minute. I have something to say. Sister Chu, Sister Chu. Gong Xiaoran started to get a little anxious. She knew that Chu Yao wouldn't be around. Someone must be trying to frame her arbitrarily. Hey, Deputy Gang Leader Gong, thank you for trusting me. I'll do that. Chen Xingye interrupted. From today onwards, Gong Xiaoran will be removed from the position of Deputy Gang Leader and Hall Master. Mao and Hall, Qing Yu will be the Deputy Gang Leader, and Su Binger will be the Hall Master. These were the last words Gong Xiaoran heard before walking out of the conference room. She finally did as she wished and gave up the position of Deputy Leader, but she didn't expect it to be like this. I became popular in StarCraft. Chapter 52 Gathering Momentum. Gong Xiaoran was dragged into the dungeon with a dazed look. Of course, this dungeon was not Princess Yes dungeon, which was destroyed by Chu Yao long ago. The current dungeon was located in the basement of Mao Tang apartment, which was also the basement of Princess Yes backyard. The conditions here were better than all the dungeons she had lived in before. There was one bedroom and one bathroom, a table, a chair, a bed, and even a small TV. The two little girls pushed Gong Xiaoran into the dungeon, turned around, and were about to leave. Wait a minute. Are you Xiaohua? Help me find Sister Chu and tell her I have something to say to you. Sister Gong, Sister Chu said that no one can talk to you. I'm sorry. Huo looked puzzled, and it was hard for her to believe that her little sister Gong, who had been with her day and night, would be a spy for Yetu gang. But the guild leader had given an order, so he had to follow it. Tell her a word. She was answered by the sound of the door slamming shut and the sound of an electronic lock. I'm sorry. Xiao was a kind person, just like Gong Xiaoran, and now he couldn't help but curse. What happened? Her mind was in a mess, and she kept wanting to take out her phone, only to realize that it was still in the conference room. Gong Xiaoran lay on the bed, trying to clear her mind, when suddenly a voice came from her ear. Xiaoran, I've wronged you for a while now. I'll send someone I trust to deliver the phone to you later. If you have any clues, please send me a letter directly. She was stunned for half a second, and realized that it was Chu Yao's voice. She blinked, and everything that had happened in the conference room just now played out in her mind like a movie. In other words, were Sister Chu and King Ye acting? Good men do exist. Now that she knew the cause and effect, Gong Xiaoran was no longer nervous. And she began to think about what had happened around her in the past few days. First of all, last night I went out in the middle of the night because a piece of information appeared in Mao Yantang's group. As the head of Maoan Hall, she was responsible for collecting all kinds of information, from the movements of the fish head gang to the rumors of the guardians in the dark streets, from the new policies of Yalai Company to the municipal planning of Tianhai City, covering almost everything. This included the news of missing children, so she asked her subordinates to pay more attention to this information. This was her selfishness, but as long as it did not delay the normal work, Chu Yao did not care. She had not slept well in the past 2 or 3 nights. Last night, she was swiping her phone in the middle of the night when she accidentally saw a message from a member, stating that the orphanage in Qiwan had accepted a large number of children who were originally slaves. It was a private orphanage, and the dean was a kind person who often took in some children who were unfortunately turned into ring slaves and saved them. Originally, she just looked at it casually without any hope, but in the picture, she saw a woman who looked very much like Chu. She was eager to find the woman, so she took a taxi over there without thinking much. In the end, I searched all night and did not find anyone. Thinking about it, someone had already paid me. Moreover, this person knew himself very well and understood his weaknesses very accurately. The problem came, Gong Xiaoran was looking for her daughter. This matter was not a secret in the gang, because finding someone would inevitably require a lot of manpower, and most of the gang knew about it. Maybe you can start with the person who sent the message, but there is a good chance that you will not find anything. There were also more than a dozen call records inexplicably added to the phone. Since it was really his mobile phone, someone must have called without his attention. The problem came again, because her work often contacted many people, and the gang had more people, and she did not look at the phone all day. It turned out to be a big mistake. Alas, I really am not suitable for this position. Xiaoran, who was sad, had been in the room for a long time and had nothing to do, so he chose to sleep. It would be good to sleep more, she was very tired. She should rest more. Chu Yao was thinking about the spirit in her body that appeared in the gang while summoning the general through the Fidian group. The evidence on Gong Xiaoran's body was not fabricated by Chu Yao. She was really framed. First of all, the payment to the gang. Then those phone records, it could be said that they were designed to pull Gong Xiaoran down. If it was someone else, maybe she would be involved. But unfortunately, she was Chu Yao. She thought of everything that Gong Xiaoran could think of, but after following the clues, there was still no clue. Of course, this spy was still in the gang, so she and Qing Yu were acting together. In the gang, the people she trusted the most were those from the Tianyin sect. Apart from knowing the basics, there was another reason. For monks, the benefits that Chu Yao could give them were much greater than ordinary people. It could give them a lot more. She might not understand heaven and man, but Chu Yao knew what monks were thinking. And excluding the Tianyin cultivators, the rest would be easy to talk about. Now, it depended on whether this person would show his feet. Even if they don't appear for a while, it doesn't matter, because this scene has just started. Princess Yes backyard. Chu Yao selected a total of 40 people from various halls as the main personnel for this operation, and 20 people as backups. The leader of the 40 people was Zhang Lu, a disciple of the Tianyin sect. She was a brave little girl who quickly integrated into the society of heaven and man. According to her, this was also a practice. Ahem, is everyone here? They're here, Sister Chu. Zhang Lu stood up with interest, with a crisp voice. It doesn't have to be so formal. This is all the necessary etiquette, Sister Chu. Who taught you? Master Yao and Master Su, Sister Chu. Chu Yao felt a cold sweat. Cliff was suspicious of the two children. Did you watch military movies? Alright, don't be so careful in front of me. I have to say, these two people were really well trained. 60 people including backups stood in a square formation, and their momentum was much better than that Yutta gang's group. I have a great army, how can I worry about the failure of my great cause? All love is without generosity. Ahem, digressing. She looked at the equipment on these people, except for the more than 10 people with guns, everyone was holding various melee weapons, the clothes on their bodies were different, except for the arms tied with ribbons embroidered with the logo of the Peacock Tail Gang. No way, the capital in the gang was still very tight, and we could only consider the combination of weapons and clothes in the future. She had already given Chen Qingye hundreds of legs from the spider holes, and asked him to find a way to deal with them. Chu Yao could not refine weapons by himself now, unless she cultivated the spirit fire during the foundation establishment stage. Okay, I will not talk nonsense, there is only one request for this operation, obey orders and follow orders. Chu Yao put on a bright fur coat that was no more colorful than this, and got into the car, rushing, all my dears, follow me. Get out. 6 vans set off from Princess Yes' backyard, then slowly dispersed along the dark streets, heading towards their intended targets. Zhang Lu was full of confidence. This was the first large-scale battle she had participated in since joining the Mao Yi gang. Sister Chu was the team leader, so she had to put on a good show. She looked out the window and thought about it. Then she realized that something was wrong. After hesitating again and again, she turned back and asked Chu Yao, who was swiping her phone. Brother Chu, are we going the wrong way? I became popular in StarCraft. Chapter 53 Dark Chess. On the contrary. Oh, I just sent it to the driver. I forgot about you. Wait a moment. The van chased the crowd on the road and quickly drove out of the 8th Ring Road. Zhang Lu roughly judged from the direction they were heading south. She didn't understand why, but she didn't dare to disobey Chu Yao's orders. When several cars drove into the territory of the 9th Ring Road and seemed to be about to arrive at their destination, Chu Yao spoke again, Zhang Lu, please. Pull everyone into this group. We don't have an operation group. Rama first. Zinkan, look at your phone. Zhang Lu took out his phone and saw group sharing by the big sister of the Mao Yi gang. Their target was not Lian Gairan on the 7th Ring Road to the north, but Rongchen Restaurant on the 10th Ring Road to the south. In the group file, the location of Rongchen Restaurant was marked with a big red circle on the map, and beside it were each team's assigned tasks, and handling unexpected situations was also available. She quickly pulled all the people involved in the operation into a new group, and everyone looked confused. Aren't we going to fight in the north and temporarily change locations? You don't understand this. As long as we continue to the south, you will reach the enemy's back. Wow, we only thought about the first floor, but we didn't expect you to be on the 5th floor NB. I understand the global strategic changes. But, aren't there many people in the Fish Head gang in the south? Can we really go in? Sister Chu, come out and say something. There was a lot of talk in the Fixin group, and Chu Yao typed a message, replying. Trust me, the fight is easy. Smiling cat head emoticon pack. Sister Chu said the fight is easy, I believe Sister Chu. Believe Sister Chu, you will have eternal life. +1. +1. Alright, don't repeat yourself, time is running out, quickly check the redeployment, and ask questions. Member Zhang Lu pulled the topic back. Chu Yao temporarily closed the group chat and clicked on another text column. The person who wrote the letter was Su Binger. Sister Chu, according to our eyeliner, many Yutu gang members have gathered near Lady Lian. Of course, she's hooked. Chu Yao smiled slightly, and this matter was still under her control. Everyone who attended the meeting yesterday was the core of the gang, except for Chu Yao. There were 8 people in total. Chen Qingyu, Gong Xiaoran, Bai Jing, Yao Han, Su Pinger, Zhang Erwen, Lin Wu and Lu Shan. Lu Shan was Bai Jing's promoted assistant. He was a simple-looking young man with glasses thicker than the bottom of a wine bottle. He helped him with his financial affairs. According to the previous logic, if all the impossible were eliminated, there would only be 3 suspicious people left. And the most suspicious of the 3 might not be able to sit still. Rongchen Restaurant, East Shuan Road. A middle-aged man with a big belly was having sex with a woman sitting on his lap. This woman wore heavy makeup and revealing clothing, and she was often laughed at by the other party. I saw him grab the woman's waist with his left hand. And holding a glass of red wine in his right hand, with a lewd smile on his mouth, very happy. His name is Li San, and he is the captain of the Yutu gang's battle hall. There are many people in the Yutu gang, and there is a brigade under the hall, and under the brigade is a small team. Li San can be considered a mid-level staff officer. Once upon a time, he was also a fierce man who dared to slash from the east street to the west street with a knife, so he was given the position of captain. Unfortunately, time has passed quickly, and today, the hot-blooded young man has become a middle-aged man who is addicted to alcohol and sex. Brotherly is so carefree, aren't you afraid of the cattail gang coming? The young woman poured him wine with a smile. What kind of cattail gang is talking about? A group of young girls are making a movie, what tricks can they pull? Li San took a sip of his wine. He had been in this position for too long, and he could see everything in the dark street. In the past few years, it's not that other gangs have sprung up, but as long as you dare to shake the power of the Yutu gang in the dark street, what awaits them is disaster. And the 10th ring he was in was even greater for the Mao Yi gang. As long as Chu Yao wasn't stupid, it was impossible to hit this side. Beauty, to be honest, this peacock gang is about to come to an end. Doesn't that mean they've been gaining momentum recently? Want to use a hammer? The news just came from above. They plan to go north, to the 8th ring road. Tisk tisk. You're still young. They must think that the 8th ring road is easy to fight. In fact, our people have already made a big turnaround and are waiting for them. After eating their large army, we will be caught between the north and the south. So Chu Yao can't pay respect to Brother Zhou? That woman had a surprised look on her face. Does that mean that all the people from the 10th ring have been transferred to the top? Really? Originally, there were 50 or 60 people in my restaurant. But I forced Brother Ding to move more than half of it. What if they come south? How is that possible? Li Shan looked at the woman on his lap with a satisfied expression. Her small gang was only established a few months ago. The Yutu gang hid after standing on the streets for more than 10 years. When they realize it, Princess Ye might have transformed back into Emperor Bai. Enough, beauty, let's stop talking about this. Let's make it happen. Li Shan showed a sorrowful expression. When he was about to reach out and hug the woman in front of him, his body stiffened. Before he could react, he felt his neck turn slightly cold, and then there was endless red in front of his eyes. His neck was cut open with a deep wound to the bone, and blood splattered all over the table. The woman seemed to be a different person in an instant. Her eyes were cold. She wiped the dagger on his body and then, taking out her mobile phone from her pocket, Sister Chu, I know clearly that more than half of the people from the 10th ring were actually transferred. Li Shan might not even know how he ended up dying in the end. This was Chu Yao's retort. The arrogant and conceited Yutu gang thought that they could mess with the Mao Yi gang by sending spies. You weren't born while your sister and I were fighting with wits and courage in the Feng Yuan Xiu world. Personally, she had already planned many hidden moves in the Yutu gang, and she had started doing this when the gang was first founded. It was true that the Yutu gang was very powerful, but now it was nothing but rotten inside. The outside was gold and jade, the inside was in ruins. Having been invincible for more than 10 years, the members of the Yutu gang had begun to get used to being at ease and had lost their due caution and caution. People like Li Shan were all over the Yutu gang, addicted to alcohol and sex, and greedy for fun. This gave Chu Yao a chance to sneak in. Understood, be careful. Sister Chu's voice echoed from her ears, and the woman immediately hung up the phone, changed into the clothes she had prepared in advance, and walked away. It was already 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and the sun was hanging in the sky. It was clear that it was not day or night yet, and the clouds hung the dark color of dusk. 6 vans carrying the members of the Mao Yi gang were parked in the shadows around the restaurant, and everyone was holding their weapons tightly, waiting for Chu Yao's orders. Do you know how to do it? Chu Yao turned on the group voice and ordered dozens of people under her command. It's an auspicious time, little sister, follow me. Mobile phone users, please browse and read. Look at the palm, it's more convenient. I became popular in StarCraft. Chapter 54 Zhongji. Dozens of people with knives, guns, and sticks came from all directions of the restaurant. There were passers-by nearby. When they knew that they were quarreling, they rushed out of here. No one would join in the fun. Anyone who had lived in the dark streets for a long time would know that there was a certain excitement that could not be part of it. If you have a problem, you will lose your own life. The 2 fish heads standing guard at the entrance of the inn saw this scene. How could they not know that something serious had happened? They hurriedly went upstairs to find their elder brother. Then I found that my elder brother had cooled down. The Yutu gang in the Rongchen restaurant had no leader, and it was immediately chaotic. Only a small group leader had not been moved, and more than a dozen people could be organized. That's right, there were less than 20 members of the Yutu gang left. Originally, this was an extremely important stronghold. Usually, there would be about 50 to 60 guards. As a result, the Yutu gang had received incorrect information from the spies. Ding Nan, who could be called a veteran of the dark streets, never thought that one day he would fall into a trick that would turn the tiger away from the mountain. The dozens or so people guarding the tower did not even have guns, and they were immediately surrounded by the crowd ordered by Chu Yao. The little captain was a good player. When he saw the wind, and when he saw the other party's attitude, he surrendered directly and helped himself cleverly. At least save his people. The restaurant was in hand without any effort. After getting it, everyone did not take this place as a new stronghold like before, but faithfully followed Chu Yao's orders: smash, smash, and rob. The 10 Rings was still dominated by the Yatu gang, and the team from the north might come back to help at any time. The Rongchen restaurant was strong, and they would be here soon. But our Mao Yi gang couldn't take it, and your Yatu gang couldn't even imagine it. Even if it was a hard bone, I would bite it. On the top floor of the restaurant, Zhang Lu violently demolished the third door with the iron pipe in her hand, and moved the safe hidden inside with her sister. It seemed that she had been unhappy since she had been at Ling Yuan Star for so long. Let her comment on today's work in just 2 words. Awesome. She took her sister into the shop and beat them up randomly, and moved them to the car when they found valuables, just like a group of bandits. In fact, it was no different from a bandit. They had already moved 6 to 7 safes. Chu Yao thought the box was too heavy, so she smashed it and stuffed the cash and gold bars into the car. Sister Chu, this is the last box. Zhang Lu and her party rushed over and put the last large iron box, which was as tall as a person, on the ground. Why are there so many? It seems that we will have to pay attention to this information in the future. Chu Yao muttered, but her hand did not move slowly. She held a long sword and pried it hard at the gap of the box door, and gold coins flowed out everywhere. Because Gong Xiaoran had reminded her, she rarely used spells in the city area. When she did, they were either illusions that did not leave any traces, or they were used on her body to strengthen her and disguise herself as a body spell. She was still a little envious of Shen Yu, and wondered when this man would appear again. Alright, it's almost done. Let's, little cat, pinch the torch, don't light it. Chu Yao grabbed her forehead to stop the girl who was pulling her head from lighting it, then opened the group call. Time is not short, everyone has to call it a day. Split the 2 cars to pull the surrender group back. There will be someone on the 9th ring road to pick you up. As for you guys, the rest should go to the car as soon as possible. East Bawan Road. Lian Noble Night Club. Ding Nan paced back and forth in the private room, waiting for news from ahead. Brother Ding, don't worry about what you're in a hurry for. We've gathered a large number of troops here. We're sure that Chu Xiao will come and go. That's right, they're just a bunch of little girls. And they can't make much of a difference. Let them play Sunjin Port for 2 days, and in the end, it will be our territory. Brother Ding has a clever plan, and once we capture Chu Xiao, we'll put down. However, she still has to listen to us obediently. Many people surrounding the subordinates repeatedly flattered Ding Nan, but the latter did not respond, only sitting quietly and sipping wine. For today, he had already planned enough. He did not hesitate to abandon the port, and even used the secret game in the opponent's gang that he had been hiding for a long time. Today, the entire city area around Lian Gairan's nightclub was surrounded by 500 Yatu gang members sent from all over. Only one hole was left, waiting for the Mao Yi gang to prey on. This was 1/4 of the Yatu gang's strength. Although it was personally agreed by the gang leader, Ding Nan said a lot. It was said that there were 3,000 people, but in fact, there were less than 2,000 people. The Yatu family was not a monolith either. Some hall masters supported themselves, and they listened to Zhou Cheng's name, but they all had calculations in their hearts. Under the sect leader, there were 4 halls of Southern Expedition and Northern War. For Nantang and Zhengtang, one was west of the 8th Ring Road, and the other was east of the 10th Ring Road. If you wanted to move people, you had to look at the faces of the 2 hall masters. Ding Nan tried his best to suppress the arrogance of the opponent with the power of fighting, and then made the cattail gang disappear into the dark street. It should be a foolproof plan, but why did he always have an uneasy premonition in his heart? Ding Nan felt that he had conflicted with the Mao Yi gang and Chu Xiao, and if the other party appeared, something bad would happen to him. He took another sip of his drink. The news shouldn't be wrong, but it's been a long time, why hasn't it come yet? He wanted to rush to the front line to see what happened. While Ding Nan was waiting anxiously, his phone rang. He glanced at the screen. Nai Da Bao. Nai Hafeng, Zheng Tang's master. The name sounded loud, but he was a big half-breed, and Da Bao was the nickname given to him by the others behind him. What's wrong, Nai? Ding Nan answered the phone. You're old, don't come near me. Nai Hafeng shouted at the top of his lungs. The sound was louder than a cannon, and Ding Nan's ears were buzzing. Ding Lao He, let me ask you, how did you get the soldiers here? My restaurant was robbed by those little girls. Speak clearly. What restaurant? Ding Nan was shocked. Who the hell is talking to you? What other restaurants are there? Rong Chen. Rong Chen. I'll give you more than 40 brothers there, then sell me. What do you mean? What do you mean? What? The Mao Yi gang didn't go north, but go south. Ding Nan was shocked and stood up immediately. Yes, those little girls, the restaurant I worked hard to build has been demolished. Ding Lai, I don't care what your plan is, I must get everything back. You quickly go tell my brothers, forget it, I will demolish it myself. Grandma, what uses your leg? No, Lao Nai, brother Nai, listen to me. Before Ding Nan finished speaking, there was only a missing voice, the phone, the beeping sound. He was complained by Nida, and there was an evil fire in his stomach, but in the end, he took a deep breath and did not attack. Forget it, it's just 40 or 50 people, just go back. When you go back, it won't affect the overall situation. Go back. Wait a minute. No, this is no longer a matter of considering the overall situation. Ding Nan suddenly called Nai De Peo back in a fluster. The surrounding subordinates were shocked, but they could not respond in exchange. Hurry up and send someone to stop Zheng Tang's people, we can't let them go. Ding Nan almost shouted this sentence out. And the subordinates around him quickly ran out, and brought him sad news. Zheng Tang, the 48 brothers who belong to him, are on their way back. I became popular in StarCraft. Chapter 55, Help. Dark Street, 9th Ring Road, Intercity Expressway. The transportation routes in Tianhai City extended in all directions, although many roads in the dark street had been dilapidated for a long time, the intercity expressways running through the city were still in operation. It was too late, the glow was like embers, and the setting sun was like fire. Under the orange-red dusk, the convoy was moving forward, and the shadows of the speeding cars were like the wind on the concrete road. There were a total of 9 cars, all of the same model, the body of the car was dark, and the plate on the front of the car said it was expensive. These 9 cars belonged to the 48 Zheng Tang boys. After the restaurant was attacked, it didn't take long for them to receive the news from the hall master Nai Hafeng, and they immediately set off to return. Even ordinary boys drove this luxury car. This was enough to show how the hall master treated his subordinates. Therefore, in the eyes of Zheng Tang's little brother, big brother Nai was more worthy of trust and support. Zhou Cheng, so any order from him was unconditionally obeyed. The purpose of their trip was not to return to the restaurant for support, but to try to reach the intersection of the 9th and 10th ring roads before the other party, and intercept the Mao Yi gang's car. Time was running out, and there was no need to delay. On the second night, the other party might have already returned to the seaside, and it would be difficult to catch up by that time. The younger brother who started the car was also very anxious at this time, and his speed reached 140 miles per hour. However, there was no car in front of him, so he quickly closed his eyes. But he was too hasty. Brother, this area is the Mao Yi gang's territory. Be careful. Wait, slow down, slow down. The friend sitting in the co-pilot kindly warned me, and I was shocked. I saw a shiny lump on the cement road not far away. Throwing nails on the road, a common tactic among gang members, could be avoided if they slowed down. One person drove too fast, and the other warned too late, which eventually led to a tragedy. The front wheel was unevenly pressed by a sharp object. At first, the tire had a slight air leak. Then immediately withered and rotted. At this time, it was too late to brake, the front of the car suddenly tilted forward, and the whole body floated vertically under the huge inertia, spinning and spinning in the air uncontrollably, and the parts on the car flew randomly on the concrete road, drawing lines, sparkling again. The whole car turned 4 or 5 times, and then the roof of the car fell and hit the ground hard, and the life and death of the people inside were unknown. The incident happened too fast, the car behind moved quickly, turned the steering wheel slightly, and tried to avoid the trap on the ground, but the speed did not slow down at all, and hit the car in front that had already set up. Cake. The collision caused a huge disaster, a violent explosion between the 2 cars, and raging fire and thick smoke burned the car uselessly. Then there was a third car that could not dodge, adding their own power to the fire. Finally, the 4 cars came to their senses. While sending messages to their fellow travelers, they stepped on the brakes, the tires left a deep black mark on the grey concrete road, along with the screeching sound of the brakes. The cars behind finally stopped at speed without any danger, and while cursing the damn cattail gang, they tried to save people and clear the trap. Compared to Zhangtang and Baitang, the people in Shengtang seemed more orderly. Although the incident happened suddenly, the division of labor was still clear. Then these people found themselves surrounded. Near the trap was a small hut on the 9th Ring Road. At this moment, a large number of vehicles drove out between the bungalows and wooden sheds. The team of Mao Yi gang members held weapons and surrounded the remaining Zhengtang members. The first one wore a large red robe, and he was rushing. That was Chu Yao. Tell your leader to come out. Boss, he's dead. The remaining younger brothers looked at the number of people on the opposite side that was several times greater than theirs and chose to surrender resolutely. Those who surrendered were taken back to resettle in unison, and the people in Mao Yitang were left to deal with the consequences. This battle had taken a lot of effort. And seized 6 expensive luxury cars, which was another great addition to the Mao Yi gang that lacked everything. Chen Xingye couldn't help but applaud Chu Yao's strategy of attacking from the east and west, surrounding that point to fight for help. He originally thought that this elder Chu had ignored worldly matters for a whole year and had only a little understanding of how to conquer and attack. He didn't expect that he was more skilled in the art of war than himself. Of course, the principle of all this was to obtain accurate information. Their tricks misled the moles in the gang, and at the same time, the pawns they set up also brought accurate information. All wars, no matter how big or small, were ultimately intelligence wars. Meticulous calculations based on accurate intelligence and rational allocation of resources were the keys to victory. And the traitor was talking on the phone with Ding Nan at this time. Enough, Ding Nan, what else do you want from me? Listen to your words, when will I allow you to call me by my real name? Angrily. I've done enough for you, where's my sister? How are you? Your sister is fine, but she doesn't have to be like that now. What are you going to do, you rascal? The rules of the road can't hurt your family. I told you, you gave the wrong information. This gang lost dozens of siblings. What? This? Instead of worrying about your sister, worry about yourself. If I'm right, her identity might be exposed. All right, figure it out yourself. Don't go. Don't contact me anytime soon. However, if there's a next time, you know the consequences. Ding Nan's voice stopped immediately. Traitor. She trembled, took a few deep breaths, and returned to normal. Chu Yao was talking to Chen Xingye in her room. There was soundproofing installed in the room to ensure that the conversation wouldn't reach the ears of a third party. This inner soul can really sit still. I think after such a commotion, there must be some tricks up his sleeve. Chen Xingye said in a deep voice. However, we've already identified who they are. So it's better to focus on prevention first. Chu Yan sat on the sofa and nibbled his nails, but he may have been notified, and I'm afraid he won't be able to fool you with his performance. No, do you know what methods Senior Chu has? You mean searching for souls? Even cultivators can't catch them, let alone ordinary people. Now is the time for the gang to hire people, so you won't be stupid before being fired by the master. Alright, I'll send a few more people to keep an eye on them, and right now, I'm only at fault for Xiao Ran. Don't mention it, we've won a few battles now, the gang is gaining momentum, it might be time to face them head on, our strength has now expanded to more than 500 people, as long as it's sent properly, it might be impossible to eat another piece of meat from yet a gang. As I said, we'll first stabilize the Sunjin port area, and then slowly annex it, just afraid that when we make a move, Nanmian will sneak in. Alright, I'll do as you say. Chu Yao blew her fingers and put the nail clippers on the table, for Nanmian I think the solution will be gone soon. Hi. Chen Xingye didn't quite understand this sentence. Just as he was about to ask, Chu Yao removed the soundproof cover, and there was a knock on the door outside the house. Come in. Sister Chu, a man came out, claiming to be the deacon of the Yutta Gang Conquest Hall, and wanted to see you. Mobile phone users, please browse and read. Palmistry is more convenient. I became popular in StarCraft. Chapter 56 Transaction. Chu Yao asked the little girl who spread the news to raise him. After a while, a nobleman wearing sunglasses stepped into the house, carrying a silver-white suitcase. This man had some courage, and he came to the enemy's base camp alone with an indifferent expression. Hello, Chief Chu, I am the deacon of Shengtang. You can call me Xiao Wang. The man surnamed Wang saluted. I think. This is the famous Deputy Chief Chen. Not to mention the famous Just Help Sister Chu with the work. Chen Qingye said politely. Sit down first. Priest Wang was not polite. He packed his suitcase, took off his sunglasses, and found a sofa for him to sit down. Then his sister came in and served tea for a few people. It's good tea. He took a sip from the teacup and praised. Do you really dare to drink it? Are you afraid that I will poison the tea? Chu Yao laughed softly. It is said that the two armies are at war, and if you don't kill them, I don't think Chief Chu is that kind of person. Okay, I don't want to play riddles with you either. Chu Yao lay down on the arm of the chair. Tell me, what do you want to exchange with your brother? Deacon Wang obviously paused while serving tea, but he didn't expect the other party to see his purpose. He put down the teacup and looked deeply at Chief Chu, who seemed to be young. Master Chu spoke quickly, so I won't say much about Xiao Wang. He put the suitcase on the table, laid it flat, and opened it, and a neatly tied stack of banknotes appeared in front of everyone. This is 300,000 yuan. As long as the remaining brothers can safely return to the 10th ring, all the money will be yours. Oh, are you planning to chase after other losses? What if I don't fall? As if he expected Chu Yao to say this, Deacon Wang smiled. The current situation of Mao Yi Gang, the head of Chu Gang must know more about this than us outsiders. The grudge between you and Ding Nan, we will ask Tang not to intervene, but she wouldn't want a knife to come out behind her back when she has a grievance, right? You're threatening me. Chu Yao's eyes flashed coldly. How dare I threaten you? This is just a warning. Deacon Wang looked up at each other without any fear. The air froze for a moment, and Chu Yao's laughter broke the pause. It seems that you and Ding Nan have a lot of grievances. What happened? Do you want to stand on your own 2 feet? You can't talk nonsense. Brother Nai is very loyal to Boss Zhou. Let's talk about what's in front of us first. Then let's talk about what's in front of us. Man, you can take it. But, I don't want money. This, what do you want? Deacon Wang was stunned. I don't know if Deacon Wang can decide what I want. Chu Yao picked up a teacup, then took out a bottle of Coke from the mini fridge under the table and poured it in. Do you want to talk about this first? I want a promise. The black Coke was bubbling in the teacup. You mean? As you said just now, your Zhengtang will not interfere in the northern affairs, and I, Mao Yitang, will not interfere with your Zhengtang. It's a promise. You're joking. Impossible. Deacon Wang shook his head. Perhaps Nai Hafeng has the idea of establishing his own family. But as long as the Yutta gang still has Zhou Cheng as its leader, the troops for the conquest hall will be sent by the helmsman more or less. It may not be possible. Although our Mao Yi gang has only just started, we still have the confidence to not lose to you guys. I wonder if you, Brother Nai, can resist the invasion of the hall. The palace priest narrowed his eyes slightly. The other party threatened him in return. We don't want much, just the city area. It doesn't matter what city area this is. North or south. Chu Yao added another ice cube to the teacup. Let's step back first. Add the deadline of this promise. 1 month. Priest Wang frowned, thinking about the pros and cons. This matter is very important. I have to go back and talk to our hall master. Why don't we add Fidian first? Chu Yao didn't move, he added Chen Qingye's. After a while, Deacon Wang packed up the box and got up to leave. Walk slowly. The younger sister sent Deacon Wang out of the house, leaving only Chen Chu and Chen in the room. Qingyu, what do you think? We are honest enough, as long as Nai De Peo is not stupid, he will definitely fall. This is beneficial to him and not harmful. It's not a secret. What Chu Yao said now could be summarized as follows: I will give you some, and you will give me 1 month. Don't beat me, and I won't beat you. I will beat someone else this month. Whether I can fight or not is my business, and she won't suffer. But if she dares to hit me, I will fight her with all my might. Both sides will suffer, no one can do anything. The Mao Yi gang now has 500 troops, and Nai Hafeng's conscripts should be these people. Both sides benefit from peace, and both sides suffer from war. Yes, but I underestimated this man. There are rumors on the dark street that this man is a big half-breed. I didn't expect that there would be such a talent around me. You mean this Deacon Wang? He is actually a calming down in the enemy's camp. He answered freely. Although he said he was a deacon, he should be one of the best around Nai De Peo. Chen Xingye sat down for a while, then stood up to leave. But before he could leave the door, Deacon Wang had already replied. Brother Chu, I have news to tell you. So early? What did you say? Tomorrow at 7 o'clock in the afternoon, East Shuan Road, Longfeng Building, Hall Master Nai, invite Master Chu to talk. Yo, do you want to see me? Interesting. Help me go back to find him. I will be there in time. West 10th Ring Road Sanchuan Mansion. When Zhou Cheng heard the news of Ding Nan's repeated defeats, he stood up angrily and scolded him again on the phone. After hanging up the phone, his anger was still there, and he smashed the things in the villa frantically to vent his anger, frightening the little brothers and bodyguards around him so much that they dared not breathe. Chu Yao, it's all because of this damn woman. With red eyes, he muttered, wanting to fly directly to Princess Ye and eat this woman alive. He didn't feel sorry for the dead and the lost property. Those things, once they were gone, could be replaced. It was because of the existence of the Mao Yi gang, which had broken the original pattern of the dark street and shaken his position. Originally, in the name of the gang leader, he directly summoned everyone under him, swallowed the cat-tail gang, and it was over. But during this process, he found it harder to speak. Nai De Peo from Zhengtang had made him lose face. At least send someone. Lu Shennan from Nantang ignored him and watched the show. How could Zhou Cheng not know about his subordinate's petty thoughts? At least he wouldn't confront him in the open before. But now, it's good. They've all fought the heavens. Outside, there are tigers, and inside, there are conflicts. If things continue like this, one day the position of gang leader might be replaced. A damn woman is no good at all. Chu Yao, since you're so cruel, don't blame me for being unfair. He took out his mobile phone, found the number at the bottom of the address book, and dialed. The other party. I became popular in StarCraft. Chapter 57 Attending the meeting. 1850 East 10th Ring Road, Longfeng Building. Chu Yao was still wearing the familiar red robe. She came by car alone, without asking anyone to follow her. With her strength, it would be difficult to bring someone with her, so Qingyu didn't say anything. The Dragon Phoenix Restaurant, one of the largest hotels on 10th Ring Road, where the elites of the recruitment hall gathered, was also Nai Hafeng's old lair. The door was open. There were white jade pillars on both sides, and dragons were carved on the pillars, which was very impressive. A few younger brothers stood at the door, waiting anxiously for something. One of them saw Chu Yao coming in and quickly waved. Little girl, we can't eat here today, our brother will reserve a seat. Chu Yao laughed and asked his younger brother with a strange expression. I don't know what kind of guests my brother is entertaining today. Speaking of shocking you to death, she is the witch of Chu who has been famous in the dark street recently. I heard that she is very cruel, eating people without spitting out bones, and wearing a red robe. Hey, she looks a lot like you. This little brother, as I spoke, I began to feel that something was wrong, and my voice gradually lowered. They had seen Chu Yao's picture, and the person in front of them looked too similar. Master Chu? He asked uncertainly. My name is Chu Yao. Chu Yao smiled and nodded. Ah. The little boy groaned and took 3 steps back. Chu Yao pursed her lips, black lines all over her head. Am I really that scary? It seems that it's time to deal with those messy rumors. Teacher Chu, why are you here alone? In these younger brothers' original imagination, this new gangster leader must have been surrounded by more than 10 people. The number 1 bodyguard also followed him, and there were 7 to 8 luxury cars to pick him up. Chu Yao looked at him blankly. Why, can't you come alone? She said and walked into the restaurant by herself. Wait, I'll go ask big brother near. A younger brother hurriedly went out. Chu Yao walked around in the hall. The gold and red carpet was spotless, and the giant chandelier on the roof was like a beaded crown, illuminating the paintings and potted plants on the walls. As expected of the largest hotel on the 10th Ring Road, Chu Yao thought to himself that this place was 3 points more luxurious than the original by Dai Wang. Unfortunately, although the decoration was good, these people were a bit disappointing. Since she had just entered the door, there were several Zhangtang boys looking at her without any flinching, whispering to her friends from time to time with different expressions. Some were timid, some were joking, some were looking down on her, and some were just here to find her a companion in Fidion. For these people, Chu Yao chose to ignore them and ignore them. But she wanted to ignore it, but the other party insisted on approaching. As soon as she reached the stairs, a 2-meter-tall strong man stopped her. Wait! Brother Nai, have you seen this little girl? The muscles on this strong man were about to burst out of his clothes, and his body was like a pile of meat, blocking the entrance of the stairs. I don't have time to talk nonsense with you, get lost. Chu Yao frowned impatiently. Impossible. I want to see Brother Nai unless you get my old Zhu's approval. Slowly, the younger brothers from Zhengtang gathered, but none of them sympathized with Chu Yao, and they all watched the show, with a greedy look in their eyes. This Chu Yao didn't bring her subordinates, so she was fooling herself. Disciples from the ancient martial arts family, I'll tell you, those are all rumors. Look at her delicate skin and soft flesh, she can't even carry a gun, ha ha ha. Old Zhu crawled out of the dead, one person can beat 10 people, the leader of Chu Gang is so pitiful. Open the deal, I bet Brother Zhu $200. Everyone talked one by one, she said everything, if she didn't want to use spells, she wanted to burn all these people directly. I don't have time to play games with children, I'll give you number 3, get out. I didn't expect my old Zhu to be called a child by a little woman, ha ha ha, don't say it, 3 is 100, the number makes my old Zhu move, and I'll count you as the winner. That. In fact, Chu Yao didn't lie, if it was about real age, she might be several rounds older than that, the man in front of me. Alright, then I don't count. Chu Yao rushed forward one step. When Brother Zhu saw his opponent rushing over, he stopped looking down on him, narrowed his eyes slightly, steadily mounted his horse, and raised his arms to meet the incoming attack. The words in his mouth seemed to be a deliberate provocation, but in fact, he came here to find out the truth about this Chu Yao, and he was actually cautious. Breaking into the Bai Emperor alone and sweeping the 9th ring road of the East in January, no one could underestimate such statistics. But he, Lao Zhu, was not a fool all these years. Brother Zhu stood firmly on the spot, his gaze fixed on the opponent's movements. So fast. In his eyes, Chu Yao seemed to have become an illusion, taking 4 or 5 steps in one step. The speed shocked him. A gust of cold wind blew on his face. Zhu Ji predicted that the other party was going to punch him in the face, and unconsciously stretched out both arms to block the vital part. In the next second, the fist wind really blew. But it didn't hit his face, but fell lightly on his body. What does it mean? Brother Zhu was puzzled. The 2 fists didn't hurt or itch. If he hadn't been concentrating, he wouldn't have known that the opponent's hand had slapped him in the face. Could it be that it was just a rumor? And this little girl really has no ability? He felt relieved and was about to fight back, he only felt a force coming from his chest. Brother Zhu swayed by this force, and when he looked closer, a pair of bony hands grabbed his clothes. This force was so great that he felt as if his body was lifted up by a forklift and flew straight into the air. Those hands dragged him around in midair and then fell heavily onto the ground. Ouch! Brother Zhu was thrown onto his back, feeling his internal organs flip over, and unstoppable pain came from all over his body. The entire audience fell silent, and only Brother Zhu was wailing angrily on the ground, and those little brothers had even forgotten to help him. The scene just now was too shocking. Brother Zhu's body was almost as good as 5 Chu Yao's, but despite his poor body, this little girl ignored him, forcing him to swing around in the sky, and fell to the ground. Moreover, after she finished, she didn't blush and couldn't breathe, it was obvious that she still had the strength to fight again. The mocking words gradually stopped, and everyone seemed to recognize themselves again with the peacock gang leader in front of them, with slightly more fearful eyes. Ha 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 ha. Ha ha ha. A cheerful laugh came from the stairs, and a middle-aged man in ordinary clothes slowly walked down. A jacket and trousers with sneakers under his feet, it was really a casual outfit, his whole body was thin, but his face was a little fat, his head was thin, and he looked like he was almost 50 years old. Falling from a beautiful shoulder, worthy of being the leader of Chu, really good skills. I became popular in StarCraft. Chapter 58 Sincerity. Nai Hafeng, do you treat guests like this? Chu Yao raised his eyebrows, and her eyes were sharp. If you test me like this, do you really want to start a war? Oh, I don't control my subordinates, they always fight for power, fighting hard, my old Nai will pay for the leader of the Chu family. Nai Hafeng held his hand towards Chu Yao. Come on, bring Xiao Zhu down and serve him. Yes, yes. The younger brothers around him said. After reacting, he quickly carried Brother Zhu, who was still breathing out. Chu Yao did not hide his dissatisfaction. And the other party couldn't say anything more. Next time, my old woman will poison you directly. Master Chu, this way, please. Chu Yao followed the others upstairs, turned left and right, and arrived at a small private room. All kinds of food, ready-made vegetables, fruits, and stir-fried and fried meats. She saw that someone was sitting on the other side of the table. It seemed that this banquet was not just for him and Nai Hafeng. Let me introduce. This is the head of the South Hall, Lu Shennan. Lu Shennan was a woman who looked to be in her 30s. She had short shoulder-length hair and light makeup, making her look sophisticated. This is our protagonist today, Chu Yao, the head of the Mao Yi gang. Do you still know that I'm the protagonist? Chu Yao shook hands with Lu Shennan and accidentally choked on Nai Hafeng. Either way, I mean, the laughter was bold. What happened just now was my old Nai's bad discipline. Okay, this glass of wine is for Lord Chu, and it's just an apology. I'll do it first. He leaned back and drank it. Clean. After drinking a glass of wine, his face turned red. Come here, pour some wine for Chief Chu. After drinking for 30 days, the atmosphere relaxed a lot, and many people started chatting endlessly, all of which had nothing to do, doing anything with the gang, the anecdotes from the dark street, the rumors from Tianhai, Chu Yao bragging at the dinner table and making false claims to the two. Recently, she had been too busy. After she left the retreat, she knew that there was a problem in the gang, so she hurriedly went back to the city and ate fast food every day to deal with it. It was rare to have the opportunity to eat such delicious food. Although it was not as good as the spiritual meal and wine, it was still better than the lunch box you eat every day. Hey, this lobster is not bad. When the gang calms down, they should hire a chef to improve the food for everyone. Nai Hafeng drank another glass. He had a good ability to drink alcohol, and it seemed that he had been practicing in the tube wine market for a whole year. I don't know what Chief Chu thinks of the situation in the dark street. Yo, finally came to the topic. Chu Yao stopped the chopsticks in her hand. Naturally, you are the bright one, and I am dark, brighter than dark. That is, Lord Chu thinks that this dark street is divided into two sides, our Yatu gang and your Mao Yi gang. Why? Isn't it right? Chu Yao should be able to guess what this person wants to say, but there is no need to break through. Some words, you have to wait for others to say themselves. According to my old Nai, he looked around and suddenly lowered his voice. This dark street is now divided into 5 parts. Oh, I want to hear more. Chu Yao glanced at the silent Lu Shennan. I think about it. The first side is Zhantang and Baitang, led by Zhou Cheng and Ding Nan, who are the most powerful. The second side is the head of Chu and your Mao Yi gang, who are currently flourishing. The third party is Lu, the leader of Nantang. Miss, the fourth point is my old Nai's conquest hall. The fifth point is the 3 unrelated religions in this dark street. Nai Hafeng's words were very interesting, and the words were worth mentioning. His thoughts had already been written on paper, as can be seen from the names he called Zhou Cheng and Ding Nan. I thought that the Yatu gang would dominate the dark street, but I didn't expect Brother Nai to divide his gang into 3 groups. Although Zhou Cheng was powerful, he was a villain with little ability. It wasn't because of our help that we came to this day. We praised him for occupying the busiest part of the dark street, while Miss Lu and I were squeezed and lived in a corner. Nai Hafeng's tears flowed and he was filled with resentment, as if Zhou Chenghe and Ding Nan were real devils, and the two were good citizens who were being bullied. Chu Yao looked at him performing with a smile on her face. She didn't care about the internal conflicts of the Yatu gang, but if it was beneficial to the Mao Yi gang, she could use it. She looked up to this Anita Bao with great regard. This person was not the big boss as the rumors said, but a rough person with good details. He was an ambitious person. Then according to what Hall Master Nai said, what does this dark street look like? Chu Yao's words were like a sword cutting into the heart. Key points. Yatu gang is getting dark, and Zhou Cheng was even more shy that day. He has long lost his former power. In my opinion, he is not worthy of being the leader of this dark street. Then who is worthy of being the leader? Gang leader Chu is worthy, and Miss Lu is worthy, but no matter who gets the top position, this chair must be vacated first. The dark street is lifeless under Zhou Cheng's management for this year, and it's time to shuffle the cards again. Nai. How a solemn look flashed in Feng's eyes, and his tone was actually cold. I understand, but even if the card holder falls, there are still 3 good cards on the table. How does Master Nai want to divide these 3 cards? Nai Hafeng and Lu Shennan looked at Chu with complicated eyes. Rumors. This Chu Yao looked young, but she had a deep understanding of people's hearts. Whether she didn't say it or what she asked was all important. That's what I wanted to ask as well, Brother Nia. Lu Shennan, who had been silent for a while, finally spoke up. His tone fell like pearls on a jade plate. Nai Hafengming, do not speak black words. I like Zhou Cheng's Shanquan mansion very much. I heard that Ms. Lu has always wanted to develop her business southward. And how did Leader Chu occupy Sunjin Port a few days ago? Do you know the intentions of the 2 of you? The Dark Road has 3 rings, dividing it from east to west, and can be divided into 6 parts. If Zhou Cheng really falls, the 8th East Ring Road, the 9th West Ring Road, and the 10th West Ring Road are the 3 good cards he has left. What Nai Hafeng said was that he wanted the 10th West Ring Road, the 8th East Ring Road for the Mao Yi gang, and the 9th West Ring Road for Lu Shennan. However, it's too early to talk about these things now. A skinny camel is bigger than a horse. No matter how weak Zhou Cheng is, he still has thousands of soldiers and horses under his command, which cannot be eaten in one bite. What I want today is Lord Chu. What I said to my deputy yesterday, a promise. No matter how many Zhou Cheng and Ding Nan have, when we start a war with the 3 of us at the same time, under the pressure of the 3 parties, we will not be able to see the other party, but if we fight first, but give them a chance. Leader Chu wants to go north, Mr. Lu wants to go south, and my old Nai is to go west. There is no conflict of interest between us at the moment. Injury. The promise I made is that we hope that the 3 parties can achieve temporary cooperation and point the finger at Zhou Cheng for the peak in Dark Road. We will discuss it later. Chu Yao picked up another piece of meat with his chopsticks and said while eating. It's useless to say too much. Since Hall Master Nai has such ambitions, why don't you show me your sincerity? Ha ha ha, good. Nai Hafeng laughed 3 times. If the 2 of you agree tomorrow, you will see the sincerity of my old Nai, and you will understand at that time. The bad checks are countless. The Mao Yi gang was ambushed by Ding Nan in the Battle of Sunjin Port because the news was leaked. Am I right? So what? I know the identity of the person who leaked it. Nai Hafeng smiled. Slightly. I don't know the sincerity. Is Leader Chu satisfied? I became popular in StarCraft. Chapter 59 Trends. Chu Yao casually called for a car and went back to Princess Yat. From Nai Hafeng's mouth, she already knew who the ghost in the gang was. Although his words did not seem to be false, Chu Yao did not believe them all. Whether this person was Ding Nan's spy, she still needed evidence. As for the agreement between the 3 of them, she agreed. This did not harm the Peacock gang, but it allowed them to breathe a sigh of relief. Since Nai Hafeng and Lu Shennan each had their own plans, let them do it themselves. Even if both sides could not completely defend, as long as they did not attack the Cattail gang on the bright side, that would be enough. The most important thing now is to occupy the northern territory with Chen Qingyu. Actually, there are many more important things to talk about. For example, Chu Yao needs to go to the Yalai Company's security base to investigate. Hurry up and help with the ship. Before she can fully stabilize herself, she has to sit in the gang first, and she can only let go of other things. And the alchemy, weapon refining, and cultivation that I thought of before. I'm so busy. Chu Yao regretted not going with Sister Bai back then. However, it's quite good in Tianhai City. It's much more fun than sitting in the cave of the tube all day. Chu Yao's mind was full of thoughts. She propped her chin with one hand and stared blankly out the car window. The streetlights flashed on her face, and the shadows of tall buildings reflected in her pupils. When she arrived at Princess Yat, it was almost 11 in the evening, but this place was much more lively than outside, and there were 2 worlds inside and outside the door. A hired band was playing on the stage in the hall, electric guitars, drums, and rhythms. Under the stage, young men and women of all colors gathered or sat in circles, drinking and laughing. A new service girl was busy in the crowded area, serving trays of all kinds of desserts and wines to people. For many people on the dark street, the nightlife was just starting. When they saw that it was Chu Yao, the little girl at the door saluted and said hello. The latter nodded and did not rush back to her room, but found an empty sofa and sat down. She leaned against the sofa and looked around, seeing the banquet, and the banquet filled her heart with emotion. Before I knew it, I had been in Spirit Origin Star for a year. She did not intend to at first, but she was forced into this world and walked through this mortal world. Sister Chu, do you have any orders? A little girl came over and asked. You are busy with your work, I will sit down and rest, I will bring you some drinks. Okay, Sister Chu. Chu Yao picked up a glass of juice, recalling the scene after being kidnapped by heaven and man. Became a minor slave, got acquainted with Qian Hu, closed the mine, hijacked a plane and escaped. After arriving in Tianhai City, he helped Lu Xiao separate from his sister, worked in a restaurant, then saved the two from the hands of the gangsters, followed the vines to find Emperor Bai, then chased Ding Nan, created Princess Yat, set up the Mao Yi gang, and swept the East 9th Ring Road, climbed into the villa at night, accidentally met Qing Yu, helped the apprentice. And explore the mine, then fight monsters, get treasures, help Yao Han. Zhang Dingnan destroyed the restaurant, and today, made a contract with the two naughty hall masters of Yatu gang. Although they have been in danger many times, they are also excellent. The years in Ling Yuan Star were more fulfilling than the ones she had spent in the sect before. She was more and more familiar with the life of heaven and man, which was convenient and fast. If she was asked to put away her mobile phone now, she would feel a little uncomfortable. There may be many problems and ailments in the society of heaven and man, but it is undeniable that the scientific and technological achievements they have developed have benefited all people and have greatly improved everyone's life. Alas, I still have a long way to go. Chu Yao took a sip of her drink. The dark road must be unified, otherwise it will not work. In short, first eat the 8th Ring Road in the north of the east, and then go to Zheng and Nantang. If he develops in Ling Yuan Star for a long time, the sea market and the dark road will be his base that day. How can he withstand 2 bundles of bombs at home? When the dark road is all in your hands, see if you can develop to other ring roads. If not, change to another city. Worst case, change to another continent. When I have money in the future, I will drive a spaceship to take everyone home directly. If home is lost, just set up an interstellar company, a new planet. Thinking of what will happen next, Chu Yao's heart beat faster for a moment. She looked up and laughed out loud, and the people around her looked at Leader Chu, suddenly angry with fear on their faces. What are you looking at? You don't see any beautiful women. Chu Yao came back to her senses, her eyes widened, and the people looking at her kept avoiding her. After confirming the future plan, Chu Yao's sigh became full of motivation. She rarely felt lost because she was a person with a goal, and for this goal, she could overcome obstacles and do everything she could. This was true for cultivation, and it was also true for entering the world. This was Chu Yao's practice. She put down her glass and was about to turn around and go upstairs, when she saw a familiar figure not far from her. The man in the neat white suit was making tea at the small table, with a calm demeanor that did not match the lively crowd around him. Behind the teapot were several dinner plates with vegetable scraps left. It seemed that he had just eaten and was drinking after dinner tea. He seemed to notice Chu Yao's gaze, looked up at her, smiled slightly, put down the teapot, and walked over. I'm awesome. Chu Yao's scalp tingled. Why is this surname Shen again? Chu Yao pretended not to see, turned her head, and left. She did not want to deal with this person. Teacher Chu, are you that afraid of me? Forget it, you have to face this person anyway. He suddenly pulled out the vacuum cleaner from his pants and swept me up, right? You really can stay like that. Chu Yao frowned and turned to face this person. I just want to finish my work. Shen Yu walked over with a smile. But there was no smile in her eyes. I have a few questions here. Can Ms. Chu cooperate? No, go. Ms. Chu, you seem to be avoiding me all the time. Why are you afraid of me? Why am I not a man-eating zerg? I'm afraid of men. Shen Yu choked for a long time with this sentence. This doesn't make sense. I'm a lesbian. Chu Yao's mouth was like a machine gun, but her brain was twitching. She couldn't be led by Shen's rhythm. Now that they were so close, the indescribable sense of danger on his body almost became a reality, and he was charging at her like a ghost with his teeth and claws. This made Chu Yao feel puzzled again. Perhaps this person didn't bring this sense of danger. But what was hidden in this person? I didn't mean to ask about Miss Chu's sexual orientation. Shen Yu shrugged. I just wanted to talk to you. I wouldn't have to react so violently. You know what I did. And I treat you, this kind of person is a little bit of a loser. Will a gang leader with more than 10,000 people be afraid of their own territory? No. Mr. Shen. Do you have any other questions? If not, please go back. I'm going to rest. You don't. If you're not from Tianhai City, Yalai Company won't be able to find your records at all. Shen Yu made an explosive sentence. I grew up in a dark street. Why am I not from Tianhai City? Chu Yao smiled back when he heard this. Tianhai City has tens of millions of people, and there's not even a name like Chu Yao. Who told you that my name is Chu Yao? What? Shen Yu was taken aback. Chu Yao took out an ID card from his pocket calmly and threw it into Shen Yu's hand. The name Chu Yao was impressively written in the name column on the card. Under the name, information such as date of birth and home address were available. Chu Yao? Chu Yao? Shen Yu suddenly couldn't edit it anymore. Her brows furrowed into a ball. I made oolong? This doesn't look like a fake. Can you stop bothering me now, Mr. Shen? It's too late. I won't drink tea with you. Chu Yao took the ID card from his hand and withdrew it. A slight smile of satisfaction appeared on his face. Wait a minute. Unfortunately, Chu Yao didn't talk to him anymore. She walked up the stairs slowly, and before she left, she pulled Xiao Hua to her side and whispered. Keep an eye on him. Don't let him go upstairs. Mobile phone users, please browse and read. Palmistry is more convenient. I became popular in StarCraft. Chapter 60, Assassination. The code wasn't really forged. It came from the population department of the Yalai Company. But even the Yalai Company was made up of people, and there were naturally various ways to deal with people, such as using a small amount of money. Therefore, Chu Yao wasn't afraid that Shen Yu would investigate her now. At least she could find out the identity of Chu Yao, and the clue would be broken here. She designed a character for herself, with both her parents dead and wandering in the dark streets since she was a child, and deliberately spread some bad news, which at least might delay the special officer for a long time. Chu Yao had also admired Mr. Shen's perseverance for a long time, and he had to grit his teeth to continue. She went upstairs unhurriedly and went to the dungeon from the back door to see Gong Xiaoran. The latter was using a tablet computer to catch up on Mary Sue's TV series. She was wiping her tears when Chu Yao walked by, and she didn't notice anyone coming. Chu Yao thought for a moment and didn't say anything. Forget it, let her take a vacation, and let her come back when I test the soul tomorrow. Chu Yao slowly walked to her room while thinking about the group's affairs. She pushed the door open and entered, and the room was pitch black. As she was about to reach out to turn on the light, she suddenly felt something was wrong. There seemed to be someone in the room. Before she could press the switch, a sense of crisis suddenly surged from the bottom of her heart, as if an electric current was running through her nerves, and the hairs all over her body were standing up. Chu Yao quickly pulled her body away without thinking. The next second, a sharp dagger cut out from the shadow on the side and drew a cold line on her neck that was originally curved. She was able to dodge this attack, all relying on Chu Yao's instincts gained from years of fighting skills. However, some of her hair was cut off, and there was a faint amount of blood on her neck. Life and death were at stake, so Chu Yao could not help but hesitate. He raised the spirit knife and slashed at the source of the attack with the sound of the wind. The opponent was also decisive. He turned around and left at the wrong time. The spirit knife only hit the display behind this person. The vase that was originally placed there was torn into pieces. Flowers, plants, and soil flew all over the room. Chu Yao quickly turned on the light, but only saw a dark figure. That figure flew out the window without hesitation, and the broken glass shards made a loud noise. The chaos upstairs was too loud, and many people noticed. Lin Wu hurriedly ran in with a few girls. You're not injured, Sister Chu. I'm fine, watch the shop. Chu Yao gave the order, and he jumped down through the broken window, chased after the figure, and rushed out. The opponent didn't land, but jumped onto the roof of the opposite building, and after pausing for a moment, he jumped onto the roof of the next building at a very high speed. Chu Yao followed closely, not giving way, and the two of them began a fierce chase amidst the scattered buildings. Chu Yao heard the strong wind coming from behind, and glanced at him from the corner of his eye as he chased after him, only to see that Shen Yu was also chasing after him. His speed was even faster than the two people in front of him. How did he catch up? It was hard to deal with now. He wanted to use the monk method, but now he could rely on his feet. The three chased after each other, keeping a distance from each other, not too close or too far. Chu Yao knew that the person in front must have come to assassinate her, but she didn't know who gave the order. The fish head gang? This chase lasted for a full 10 minutes. During this time, the assassin turned back several times, trying to use the building covering to chase away the pursuers, but how did Chu Yao let him do so? Spiritual energy was secretly circulating on his legs, just like a cheetah eating its own prey. Finally, after several rounds, the assassin was cornered by Chu Yao. He had no way to retreat, and the wide and quiet Jing River was right behind him. The Mirror River flowed through the entire Tianhai city from west to east and flowed into the sea. This is a wide section of the river. This person can either jump into the river or run along the river bank. Run, why don't you run? Chu Yao shouted as she swung her hips to her hips without blushing or panting. The place they were now in was called Riverbank Park. A stone-paved road stretched along the riverbank, surrounded by green trees and scattered streetlights. Under the bright white light, Chu Yao could clearly see the general appearance of this person. He was wearing a tattered black robe, his face was covered by the robe, and he couldn't see clearly. His short sword was now tied to his left thigh. Moreover, his right hand seemed to be a little different from ordinary people, reflecting the color of metal under the light. The man didn't say anything, but when he saw Chu Yao standing still, he drew his sword with his left hand and pointed it at Chu Yao. Good timing! Chu Yao shouted timidly, and took half a step back, dodging the short sword's attack. She didn't move easily, but was blocking this person's strange right arm. Of course, the slash was just a cover-up. This person missed the attack, and he didn't panic, but ran again quickly. And punched Chu Yao's chest with his right hand in a punching position. This movement was very fast. Chu Yao did not dodge anymore, and crossed her arms in front of him, trying to block the punch. She finally saw the overall picture of this person's right hand clearly. It was not a human hand at all, but a mechanical arm. A large spherical bearing acted as a joint connecting the blue-gray iron arm, and there were many small translucent tubes attached to the surface, spreading around like human blood vessels. Suddenly, there was a strange sound like gears turning in the spherical bearing on his shoulder, and an unknown liquid glowing with a blue-green light flowed rapidly on the dense tube. Then, a white gas gushed out from the connection, and the entire arm was a straight line. The clenched fist was like a missile, shooting out with half an arm. This was a strange movement that Chu Yao did not expect. The arm in front of her was fiercely consuming the attack. It seemed that she had been hit by a missile. A huge strange force hit her back 4 or 5 times. Mi felt a burning pain from the sagging skin. After the opponent's mechanical arm exploded, it recovered again with the sound of iron rods and gears rubbing against each other, and the sword in his left hand came out again, following him like a shadow. Without giving Chu Yao a chance to catch his breath. Watch out! Shen Yu finally arrived late. He held a steel pipe that he had picked up from nowhere and inserted it between the two people, and hit the assassin's head hard. This ambush was swift and urgent. The assassin stopped walking, turned his head to the side at an odd angle, narrowly dodging. But after hiding like this, the cloak on his head could no longer be worn, and he fell into the wind with the waving of the steel pipe, revealing Chu Yao's familiar face.